We're down to 4, and my God, it took a while to get there. There was not as much amazing college basketball as I would hope for, but one of the games that did live up to expectations, Kentucky versus Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to Aaron Rodgers in Wisconsin and Izzo in Michigan State in a little bit. But first, Kentucky, Notre Dame, one of, if not the best college basketball games of 2015. Francis, I know you watched.
Yeah, I was a fan of Notre Dame from the start.
Yeah.
I
wanted
like
them. I
wanted to do well, but I just don't see what people can do to beat this Kentucky team. Well, and it's just, I don't even know how to say it as much. We know I'm not a huge basketball knowledgeable fan, but I'm an observant fan, and I love to watch these games. And I thought now, like, hit them from the outside, try and drain some threes. It worked for a certain amount of time. But you just, when you start to come up against a team that's this physical, that's got two of the biggest transformers in the league at the moment, is a continued Megatron and Bumblebee in the middle.
I would go with Optimus Prime. Bumblebee's fine. We'll go with Bumblebee.
It's just that they just seem sort of impossible to beat. But it was great to see them being taken down to a lesser scoring advantage than winning by 10 or 15.
Right. I mean, we saw what Kentucky did to West Virginia.
Yes. And I thought West Virginia were going to push them further because they were so physical and high pressing.
Yeah, and rest in peace, West Virginia, because they were just, oh my God, that was brutal. But when it comes to you literally just said it, the 3-ball.
Yeah,
it's one of the weaknesses of. I shouldn't say weaknesses. It's one of the things that you can do to beat any team in college basketball. You put any team against anybody. If you drain your threes, and when we get to Wisconsin, we'll talk about that because they were 12 of 18. You shoot 12 of 18 from 3, 66%. You are going to win basketball
It's
games.
What I call the Francis Maxwell NBA 2K15 method. You get Carmelo Anthony on your team, you sit outside the perimeter and you drain threes.
Carmelo Anthony, Stephen Curry, use the three-point king.
Yeah,
but
that's how you do it.
When it comes down to Kentucky versus Notre Dame, it was such an exciting game. One of the things that is terrifying about this game was the fact that Kentucky looked at pretty much, I don't want to say the weakest because they went against another team that really played minute for minute for everything except the last minute.
Yeah.
They protected the ball, Notre Dame. 29 minutes without a turnover against the best defensive team in the country, one of the best defensive teams in the history of the NCAA tournament. On top of that, they were able to penetrate Towns and Stein.
Yes,
it seemed like their height was not a difference maker, and they weren't afraid of that.
Yes.
And Jerry Grant, who's going to be a finalist for the Wooden Award, or at least he should be, in Connington, was hitting the baskets, tough shots too. Like Tyus Jones for Duke makes these tough baskets, and the degree of difficulty that these are falling at usually don't fall at a high percentage. For Notre Dame, they were. By the way, 11 ties, 17 lead changes. Yeah. And it came down to a shot, a prayer, a miracle would have had to happen for that ball to fall for Notre Dame, but it just didn't.
So what do you think that Wisconsin are going to be going into this game? Somewhat confident now because they've seen that there is some sort of penetration that can give away in this Kentucky team because you have those big guys, but also Wisconsin, the big guy, as you know,
Frank
huge fan,
Frank the Tank.
Huge fan of him because he can drain them from the outside as well. But are they going to go in confident because of this?
I think that's a little bit more confidence because it seems like Kentucky can be beat, but then you look at it and they're still 38-0.
Yeah, still like going into a Barcelona team that maybe Messi had a 5-minute injury, but he's still going to come back into the next game.
A miracle, you really do, because again, I look at this Kentucky team, and everyone, like Notre Dame gave them a run for their money. It shows that they are beatable, but here's the facts of the matter: they haven't been beat.
Yeah,
Wisconsin can give them a run, and I hope it's as good of a game. But I don't think Wisconsin can beat Kentucky. I don't think anybody can beat Kentucky. I think this team will go 40-0, and I hope they do. For the sake of a perfect season, it's a good storyline to watch.
Yeah.
We must move forward. Speaking of Wisconsin, there is a Wisconsin resident, happens to be the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, what's his name again?
Happens to be dating Olivia Munn. This guy's got nothing going for him right now. His name is Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. And he took down a Twitter troll. I shouldn't say a Twitter troll. The guy Dennis
he's a designated reporter. He's verified on Twitter, so he must be important.
I'm calling him a Twitter troll because I like the headline that one of the articles ran was Aaron Rodgers owns crybaby reporter who complained about him celebrating with Wisconsin. Yeah. Well, we're going to read you the tweets. So let's take a look at Dennis Dodd's tweets. There's about 6 of them. There's a lot of them. It starts off with Aaron Rodgers is one of the biggest moments in state's history, ignoring how media has shaped his image. I'm not doing interviews. Dear Wisco fan, if it was about the Badgers, then why was A. Rodgers on the court? Credential media only. Here's the equivalent of what A. Rodgers did today. I crash his weddings to Olivia because I'm a big fan. Media had to stay out of three-point line really while Badgers cut net. A. Rodgers allowed unrestrained access to court. Fair? Question mark. Still wondering what difference is between two uncredentialed fans on court. One dates an actress is good at sports, the other isn't. I can guarantee this will be taken up by the NCAA and USBWAA. A. Rodgers shouldn't be in position for us to be blown off. Now, normally I'm always going to side with the media personnel because we are in the media of sorts and we want to have that fair access. Here's the problem. Rodgers, tweet. Let's take a look. To the biggest Twitter crybaby of the night, I had a pass to be on the court. Send your complaints to the athletic director.
Yeah.
Look, this is a guy who is friends with some of these Badgers. Yes, when you are a prominent athlete, and I want to say not just a prominent athlete, one of the most recognizable and deservingly credentialed athletes in American sports, yeah, you know what? Sure.
Yeah.
Be on the court. Celebrate with them. This was just a jealousy thing.
Yeah, but he's not there to represent Wisconsin. He's there as a fan.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So he's there as a fan. So if he's there to represent and be some sort of I don't know, to be someone to go and give their perspective on the game, then yes, you can go and get him an interview. But he's not. He's there as a fan. He's just a guy who's trying to enjoy another sport. I honestly, I'll come out and I'll say it a lot of times. I don't know how I'm going to bring this into it, but the Zayn Malik kid who's leaving One Direction because he wants to be a normal kid. People are going to go up to him and they're trying to push him to get interviews when he just wants to be somewhat normal. And this is a situation where Aaron Rodgers just wants to be a normal fan and enjoying this team's environment.
I thought Aaron Rodgers was going to be joining One Direction.
Yeah, I wish that was the idea. I wish that was it. But this is where I agree with you. I would usually field with the journalists because we try. You don't understand it until you're in it. You try hard to get interviews, and sometimes you don't. If he's not there to be a credentialed person to go, because these people have to be told that they're going to be in an interview, because then it'll reduce the risk of them coming across and saying something they don't want to say. He's not there prepared for an interview. He's there to be a fan. The kids there who just won the basketball game, they're the people that should be getting the spotlight. Those are the people that should be asked about what their victory means to them, not Aaron Rodgers.
And Rodgers also tweeted out after, and I have to find that tweet so we can share it with all of you guys on TYT Sports, that he's been a Wisconsin resident for 10 years, and he wants to be, and he is a Badger fan for that reason. So he's a big-time fan.
Yeah.
Here's my question. I don't know if this is a fair comparison, but would this guy have made the same? He didn't have credentialed passes if it was a kid who was a lifetime Badger fan at 6 or 7 years old, and they put a 6 or 7-year-old on the court. Oh, he doesn't have a badge. He's just a Wisconsin Badger fan, and he wants to be there.
Yeah.
You got to treat it fairly. So Dennis Dodd, I'm sorry, man. I don't see where your outrage is coming from. It just seems like a little bit of jealousy.
Yeah.
There was also Shooter McGavin's tweet, which I know you want to read.
All right.
Shooter McGavin, by the way, from Happy Gilmore.
Shooter McGavin says, at A. Rodgers, of course, being him, he said, Dodd, hey, Aaron, let me enter. And then it stops. Obviously, that's from the reporter saying that. He says, this is what Aaron Rodgers should have said. You know what would be great, Dennis? If I can get you, so. Oh, and Dennis, grape. If you've seen Happy Gilmore, you know that Shooter McGavin's quotes are the absolute best when it comes down to interacting with commentators and reporters. But I still don't know how I got to Zayn Malik, but I'm still trying to process it in my head.
Well, you have a little bit more time because we need to move forward once more to Michigan State.
We're still moving forward? All right.
For someone, me, who cursed my bracket after about 3 hours into the opening day of the tournament, you were watching me, I was watching the games. I was basically in tears, a grown man crying, because I sat there going, this is an easy bracket this year. And it fell apart all amongst me. It was just throwing papers across everywhere, right? Well, the Final Four is intact. I had Michigan State, I had Wisconsin, Kentucky, and Duke. It was a thin tournament. If you look at that side of the bracket with Michigan State, I was punching myself because I'm going, why don't I take Louisville also in that Elite Eight game? Pitino versus Izzo, which, by the way, we have another tweet. Bam! March Madness is not March Madness when you're in Michigan State. It goes January, February, Izzo, April, May. Tom Izzo, coach of Michigan State. Never graduate, as they say. Awesome shirt if you're a Michigan State fan. Sparty Nation, obviously. You should be getting that. I think there's also one more.
Is this an accurate perspective from me here?
No, it's still called March.
Wait for it. Yeah. So, Louisville's last play. I just want a shot. I'm just a neutral fan. I just want them to take a shot. Yeah, this is what I love March Madness for. This is the reason why I was happily I was happily listening to the argument that March Madness is better than Champions League. But this year has not been the correct representation of a true March Madness tournament from what I have seen. And there's been numerous occasions where teams have had the chance to at least put up some sort of shot, but they've turned over the ball trying to look for that perfect shot. And in Louisville's situation, I just felt that it was hard. It was good defense from Michigan State. But at the point, I just was thinking someone needs to take something. And they tried to pass it to find it, and they got turned over. Anticlimax.
One of the relations I can make to your sport, the beautiful game of soccer, you have to create space. There needs to be enough to get off a high percentage shot. Because not every shot is a good shot. If you have a guy with a hand in your face and it's well contested, maybe not necessarily a great shot, but if you're getting off, a 16-foot jumper with 2.5 seconds left, and you have just enough space to get it off, it's a high percentage shot, it's a good shot to take. There's a lot of a lot of gray area between what is a good shot, what could be a great play, because a lot of the time what happens if the shot doesn't fall, what a terrible shot. How could you take that? When in reality, a lot of those shots that don't fall are still very
But you know it's not a good shot?
It's not a good shot.
A turnover.
A turnover is an even worse shot.
I'm probably that's just my own perspective on it. And like, I love March Madness. I love to see the shots. I mean, I love to see the shots going in. So
it's a good perspective, Zane Malik over there. We end with the bracket that is the holier than thou bracket, winning the TYT bracket challenge. Because you know who's not winning the TYT bracket challenge? You, myself, Bart, Mike Shekels, Dan Keston.
Dan didn't win.
Dan is not winning
more money, Keston.
We have the bracket here. It is Tyler L8719. And my God, this guy, do you see how much green is here?
That's a great bracket.
He had Oklahoma versus Michigan State. He had Villanova going to play Louisville, but he had Michigan State versus Louisville. He had Notre Dame playing Kentucky. He's got his Final Four intact, also Michigan State, Duke, Kentucky, Wisconsin. And then even here where I had a lot of trouble, he did have the SF Austin upset, which is what a lot of people had. It didn't fall. He had UCLA moving on in the first round, but of course he had basically... He only lost out. He had almost all of his Elite Eight. He had 7 of the guys except for Iowa State. And now he's got Kentucky winning by a final score of 72-57. I like that bold prediction.
Yeah.
What this bracket does not do is, I think, one of my favorite things from the tournament. After the first round, first 64 games, there's only, I think, one perfect bracket intact.
Yeah.
And that perfect bracket had Kentucky winning the national championship 58-0.
Yeah.
To which I've joked about all year long, going, Kentucky's going to win the national championship 25-0 because the defense is crazy. And then that almost happened versus West Virginia when they had 19 points at the end of the first half.
All right, so
we have to wrap this up.
Right, so prediction now. So what do you imagine? Obviously, you're predicting that Kentucky beat Wisconsin and go to the final. Who would you think has got the best chance if they were to go through to play, Michigan State or Duke?
I think Wisconsin has the best chance to beat Kentucky.
Yeah, but I'm talking about if Kentucky go to the final.
I know that. I'm going to say Duke just because of Tyus Jones, Quinn Cook, Justice Winslow, and Julio Okafor. In terms of perennial talent on a team, they might be more talented than Kentucky, but they are not better than Kentucky. So
what you're really saying is you need me to get NBA 2K15 and play the game against.
That's a problem because you can't play as these guys in NBA 2K15.
And I can shoot. I can drain threes.
What we're going to do is we're going to order a One Direction CD.
Yeah, I still don't know how I got back to that.
Francis Zane Maxwell.
I'm struggling to get over the fact that he's left. But
what do you guys think? Kentucky gonna win it all? They gonna go 40-0?
Well, Snoop Dogg thought so. No, he thought Arizona was gonna. He thought Arizona was gonna put a chance, but they didn't make it.
Another great game was Wisco versus Arizona.
But he still predicted. He was hoping to see them go the whole way. So
do you side with Snoop? Or do you side with us? Do you side with none of us? Leave your thoughts, your predictions, your comments in the comment section below. As always. Francis, Jason, don't forget to subscribe.